I see everybody slouching in their chairs, so I had to start with some disco music for all the people here that can remember this back in the 80s. One of the young ladies asked earlier about, the culture building and how we started on this 19-year journey. We were founded in 1962. I said we have 360,000 customers. We have 1,800 different products. We have maintenance, repair, and operation. Our true north and our direction that we go to is right below this. Same day, next day. And that means today we either ship it or we ship it tomorrow. And that same day, next day means today at Vibeco, you see the today there, we're doing something with it. Tomorrow we get it in the truck and they get it to you the very next day. And this has been our mantra for 19 years. And it has different derivatives of this. As you learn more, you understand same day, next day for some people means same minute, next minute, right? It means same hour, next hour. So you have to think about that. But the key here is that our lean journey started in 2000 with a grown man crying on the phone. And the grown man was literally crying on the phone because we missed 2 delivery dates. It was for a big contracting job in Tampa, St. Pete, and they were building a bridge, $1 billion project. We had $50,000 worth of vibrators we're going to supply to them, which is a Good Friday night of drinking for iron and steel workers. Inconsequential in the $1 billion project. And we told this firm that he told the contractor actually that he was going to supply the best vibrators in the world. And he got the $50,000 order. And we said we're going to deliver them at such and such a time, and of course we missed that date. And then when you missed that date back in 2000, you give somebody another date. And of course we missed that date. Finally, it took a grown man crying on the phone to one of our associates, and I was at home sick in bed, that he called me and said, "We have problems, Chief." And they explained this whole issue, so I went to the shop and we eventually got the pieces out that day because now that firm understood the president was involved in getting these pieces out and it wasn't a winning strategy. That's when I came up with same day, next day. Then I had to go back and tell our team that the only way we were going to survive, that we had to build products today, put them in the truck the next day, and the following day at the customer. And I told them that, and I drew this picture, and not everybody understood what we're going to do for a journey. Only a handful of people really understood that vision. And that vision came out of, as Jim said, a burning platform or some kind of direction. And in 2000, I'm second generation in the company. It wasn't a winning platform, and I didn't want to lead 100 people into disaster because I knew that if we couldn't get products out in a timely fashion and hold our word to customers, we weren't going to be around for a long time. I didn't want to be a part of that team. And if I didn't want to be a part of the team as the leader, then why would anybody else want to work for me? And I would never blame them for not wanting to work for me if we couldn't think of another way. And in 2000, I didn't know what lean was. And sorry, Jim, I should have bought the book in 1984, 16 years earlier. I didn't know what the book was. So I had a directors group that I was a part of. That's for 23 years. And I went to the directors group, who was other business owners and presidents, to try and figure out what they did when they had an issue with not getting alignment of the team and not getting a culture, because I knew the culture piece would take us through this. And that's what YPO does, is that you have presidents of different companies it's a global group, but the one thing that we have in common is we learn through idea exchange and going to sea. So I said, well, if I can learn that way, maybe my people can learn that way. And then I looked at strengths that I'm going to talk about a little bit, and TPS. So underneath the House of Lean here, that's our own version of the Lean House, Jim. And for the first 3 to 4 years of our lean journey, from 2000 to 2004, all we did was culture building. We didn't know anything else. Didn't know 5S until 2003. I didn't know SMED until 2003. But I knew that people, if we had a culture, that we had a can-do attitude, and that we could speak to each other differently and do things differently, that there wasn't too much else that we couldn't learn. So we backed into lean. Very unusual way, I think, is that we worked on the culture, right? And we needed to go deep to understand strengths. I needed to know more about my people, what my people were truly capable of doing. And that was the seminar yesterday we talked about, right? And I didn't want to underutilize people. And our respect was there in the Lean House right away. And the strengths was a great tool to strengthen that pillar, to learn how to talk to people and learn what people are doing. And then what we're doing, we build people, not widgets. We attack the process, not people. Good people stuck in bad processes. We fix what bugs us. We do tours, to come and see. We're a teaching learning organization for both private, public, and profit and nonprofit. And we do stand-up meetings. And this lower right-hand side is the top 5 strengths of our organization. So if we were the organization here, the 100 of us, I have 60 some odd people that are achievers. I have 40 some odd that are responsibility. Another 30 some odd that number 1 is learner, strategic, and individualization. I'll get into that a little bit. Because leading an organization, it's the perfect recipe for success. And Brett talked a little bit about this too, is that the world's changing. And I jumped to this slide because the stability of organizations and the outlook for what we're going to do in the future is changing dramatically. Look at the S&P, and I don't know, you guys follow the S&P up here? 1964, 30 years was the average length of company. And then in 2016, 24, and then it's predicted to change in 2027 to 12 years. So that means either the companies are going away, they're getting bought, or they're just going out of business because they don't have a strategy to succeed. So seeing this and understanding that it takes people to be in the company, it's a burning platform for us to do something different with our culture and to change the way we look at people. And this is just a great little slide that I saw that any of the lean companies go from a profit to a purpose. And when you have a really great purpose with 100 people, 200 people, 10,000 people, profits come along. You don't need to talk about profits because if that purpose is that deep, profits will follow. And the same with hierarchies to networks. I mean, just the younger people in today like networks of people that they work with rather than hierarchy. They totally rebel against hierarchies and they want to have a seat at the table. And then controlling versus empowering and planning versus experimenting. I don't know too many plans that can't turn out that great. But if it's an experiment, it doesn't turn out great. You don't feel so bad, and you probably learned something along the way, right? And then privacy versus transparency. So moving forward, culture building methods. Like I said, we build people, not widgets. And practical lean tools increase our productivity and product cycle times. It happens on a daily basis. I'm amazed when I walk the factory floor, all the small innovations that our people do because they have that culture ingrained in them. If it's not working for you and you can't do something, you can't get somebody to help you, take control yourself and make it happen if it's in your work circle, right? And then leadership tools and strategy for aligning companies' goals and customers. And lean doesn't happen by accident. This is probably one of the hardest jobs that I've ever done. And it's the most rewarding job that I've ever done too, especially with the people seeing the wonderful things that everybody does and what they can contribute and how simple the outcomes are. When people put their brains to things, it was right there in front of you probably for the last 5, 10, 15 years, and all it took was giving somebody the license to be able to question it, play with it, and come up with a really novel idea. And why lean, in our strategy? It's hard work and it's a competitive advantage to us. And Jim will tell you, just a handful of companies have really benefited from the lean. It's the people side, the culture, and I'm going to get into that here very quickly. Because Gallup, and we talked about this yesterday, how many people here are looking to increase their employment in the next few years? Raise your hands high. No one from Iceland? You're not going to add people to your jobs? Come on, I got to see the hands. I mean, this is a global issue. 31% of the people say they're going to add jobs to increase in the next year. And 52%, how many people feel it's hard to find good people? Now, so 52%. And keeping qualified people becomes even more important. We're aging out just as fast as you are. Just as fast as you are, and there's going to be a big knowledge base gone unless we figure out how to proceduralize it and have the old and the young working together, man and machine working together, and innovation so we can do all the things we want to do, because you may not get a yodel stove, you may not get a vibrator, it may be on eBay, and you'll say, I remember when, right? So, take a look at this one. I customized this slide for you guys to come in Iceland. It's about culture. So think about this boat here in your organization, that you have X amount of people that are the naysayers, the cynics, and the skeptics sitting in the back of the boat, and they actually actively want to destroy the boat. They want to cut a hole in it, they want to do something because they're just angry. And then you have a middle group in the boat that's watching to see, are the people in the back of the boat going to win? And is that the tribe I should work with, a group of Vikings? Or are the people in the front of the boat going to win? Right? And that's your biggest chunk of people. So just look at this chart, fill in your own brain, at your organization, how many people are working against you, how many people are along for the ride, and how many people carry the load. And what they're doing at Yodel, and what we're trying to do at our organization, is spread that load across everybody, because we can't rely on those people that we walk out to our facility floors and look at Bob, Mary, Sven, Magnus, Olaf, and say, you know what, can you do this today? And they say, yep, they'll do it. And then you forgot about the other 80% of the people that are supposed to be supporting those guys. You can't do that. It's not a good winning strategy. You have to be able to set a mission, and the people have to understand who's going to do that, who has the capacity, capabilities, and how do we get it done. So that boat is this, 18%, 52%, and 30%. Did anybody think about that? So if you know that going into building a culture, and we heard it a little bit from our friend from Iceland that was giving the presentation. Where is he? Here? There he is. I got a little bit of, I understood a little bit, so I think that you had some trouble with culture, that you started with the organization, and it was really tough for the people to understand the culture. Does that boat look familiar to you? Yep. That boat floats all around the world. It's not just one country that boat lands in. That boat's everywhere, right? So getting things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people. And Lean is done by a team of people. And Lean, when it's executed properly, can withstand the test of time and do some unbelievable things, right? And this is our team in our manufacturing area. And these are the strengths. This is a Gallup process that we do. And we've all done probably Myers-Briggs, DISC, and all these personality assessments. But Gallup has this positive psychology of trying to figure out what are the top 5 things why I wake up in the morning to come to work. And if I can tap into those top 5 things and have dialogue in that fashion, I get super production. I get 30% more out of our people every day because they actually actualize what the heck they're good at and how they work together and how we put them together in groups. Our number one theme you saw before was achiever, strategic learner, individualization, and responsibility. And we're actually dog friendly. How many black dogs are in that picture? Is anybody paying attention? There's actually 2, and then the little white dog. So this is how we split up our organization. And this whole strengths movement, Gallup has tested over 160 million people globally. And Jim Clifton, the president of Gallup, we've become good friends. And his notion to this is that he can change world economies through utilizing people and actualizing people. So we look at our organization, and there's a key point here on this first one with achiever. You ask about the culture. So we have 57% of the people that work in our facility are achievers. So what they bring every day, what they bring to me and to the organization and to our customers, intensity and stamina of effort. Intensity, stamina, and effort. So my job as president is, I better clear the runway because they're coming in fully loaded and they're ready to go. And if all of a sudden we have a big box of things in the way and the tow motor doesn't work and this thing doesn't come in, what's going to happen when they walk through the door? They're going to look at the pile of stuff and they're going to say, not another day like yesterday. Right? So I better have that runway clear. The next thing, what they need, freedom to work at their own pace. Right? And if you're an achiever, freedom to work at your own pace is going to be much higher than anybody else that's an average person that doesn't have that DNA. So I have to set up an environment of standard work so they can work at their own pace, so they can work at their own pace, and they can contribute to changing the pace to make it even a little bit better. And then the last thing, they're motivated by completing tasks. The lean journey is a long road. My number one strength is achiever. If the task has to go on for months and months and months and a year, I've already lost interest after the first 2 hours when you say we're going to do this for years. Give me. Isn't that Jim looked at my wife. He's wondering if I came to Iceland to get a divorce because my wife's tired of me because I don't complete the task. But the point is, if I know that I'm not good at that, I have to break it up into small bites. And if I know that 57 people aren't good at that as well, give them daily tasks, give them a weekly task, and then let's celebrate those tasks, right? And then you can read on and on and on. And there's a whole class I can give you on this. And this chart is a manpower chart that we use the strengths of what's in people's DNA with core capabilities of what can they do in the organization so we can flex them, so we can pair them together with other people to get this big bang effect of 3 people's work out of 2 people. Right? Transforming the organization is 100% reliant on how well you engage your team. Engagement changes performance. And this is Susie. This girl is unbelievable. She is the queen of lean, and she is innovating so much every day. She probably comes up with 3 or 4 innovations every single doggone day. Every single day. And she's proud to share them with everybody and proud that she does them. She is unbelievable. And this is a slide that's really important because developing people is just as much about developing yourself. Holy crap, it's been a long journey for me for 19 years, right, Kim? Holy crap. I've taken a lot of guff, I've taken a lot of heartache, I've taken a lot of huge wins, I've taken it all over the place. But you know what, at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade it for anything because right now we're doing stuff that I once thought was impossible. And it's so beautiful to hear what Yodel's doing because that's right on the horizon, all those things. We're thinking in the same pew, executing a little bit different. We're thinking in the same pew, same church. At least I'm in the hymn book on the right page. I may not be able to sing it like Brett, but I'm on the same page and I'll try singing it, right? And this is the CHIE that we have up there. And CHIE is so important to our organization. This is the concept, if you read it, this is the concept that you think so hard about something that your brain bleeds. And you think so hard about something that all of a sudden you're in the shower, or you're taking a walk up one of the mountains, or you're just driving your car and you say, I got it. That's how hard we need to think in our organizations about what we're doing, is that we're actively thinking all the time, and that is not consuming us, because we don't want people to be consumed, because that's nervous and that's not fun, but actively positive thinking about what's going on. And during the workday, people come up to me all the time in our organization and say, boss, I thought about it last night in the shower. I said, let's save that picture, tell me what the outcome was. Right? And the word engage. You can read this, my slides will be available, but the word engage is such an important word that it's capture, catch, arrest, grab, snap, snag, draw, attract, gain, win, hold, grip, captivate, engross, absorb, and occupy. So when we talk about engagement of people, think about those words. Those are really good verbs about what engagement means. And are you doing that in your organization? You know, engrossing someone, absorbing someone, occupying someone, because now you've got engagement. And what can you do in your daily routines to do that? Well, I'll show you some of them. We needed a purpose. We needed emotional connection, a community. Our organization, the people that work there, are known as the Vibration Nation. We're bigger than any one person there. We're bigger than the state of Rhode Island. We're bigger than the U.S. We are the Vibration Nation, and I don't know why the UN or NATO won't let us in. I have a helmet and I have a cigar. I am ready for NATO. I just don't understand it. And we need a community, a united front, a common purpose, a new frontier, power, strength, and can-do attitude, and many hands make for light work. And you know, Peter Drucker, my favorite management consultant besides Jim Womack, and a researcher, but culture eats strategy for breakfast. How many people are NCAA basketball fans here? A handful of us. What the heck just happened in NCAA playoffs this year? These teams were all good teams. Where did they come from? How did they overthrow the seeded ranked champions for decades, and in close games down to the last second, 2 seconds, and tight scores? Those guys had culture. They still train the same way. They're still ordinary college kids there, but boy, they came out on those courts, and during playoffs, it was unbelievable. And anybody that watched it, you want to watch culture eat strategy? They did it. It was unbelievable. And this is our morning stretch. This is part of building the culture. You know, we needed the nation. You think it, you believe it, you drive it, you get people empowered, it happens. Everybody's in unison. We figured out that showing pictures was a way to get us in unison. This goes up on the screen. How do you do a shoulder pinch? You stand like this. And we all do the shoulder pinch, and you push it out. It's standard work to the stretch. And we go through these mechanical routines that if your body and you can listen and you can do mechanical things, great. And then we have a safety one. Safety one's first, didn't put it in. We have a continuous improvement. But we go one step further with the continuous improvement. We have a gratefulness. We're grateful that somebody did something. We're grateful somebody had a baby. We're grateful that somebody stayed late and helped us out. We're grateful that Petter and Mariana came to visit us in Rhode Island. Everybody said that. They had fun. Right? Choose your attitude. Be present. Be world class. Make somebody's day. Do what you say you're going to do and have fun. Right? Mahatma Gandhi. These are all things in building a culture. You asked about building the culture. They're all different pieces that were lived and live today too. We lived these for a year or 2 years, these philosophies, until they became ingrained in our bodies, and we go back and forth like the lean house to when we need to pick back up. We'll pull up the Mahatma Gandhi saying, and we'll see it, read it, and say, that's why we're doing this. The why, the purpose, the internal purpose. And our true north, I want to get to the videos here. Watch how simple this is.
And 4, he's on the big bird, the back plates or whatever. He has to put in the full pull. You gotta fumble around. Put him in. Set him nicely. And come back to this. And zip them all in. Now, we're going to eliminate a step. Got a new one with magnet in it. Put this sucker around here. Now, one step. Put it in, and it goes. No fumbling around. Quick and easy. Done.
Oh my God, how monotonous to put those screws in there. We were trying to improve a workflow cycle, putting it into content of the machining, right? How monotonous. And I used to go out there and help a machine. I didn't feel for work, and I try and do those screws. And Greg is a graduated engineer. He heads up our engineering team. He loves to wear the logo shirts. He goes out there, he works with the operators. A magnet. Simple, simple stuff. And he's happy to do it. I'm going to show you one quick video. This is Susie, how to take stickers off of things, right? We make tens of thousands of those covers and hundreds of thousands of stickers go in every
Over here at
box.
the STR packing table, Joanne and Lucy have come up with a great improvement. So these stickers, they are pre-perforated. We have to fold them and then tear them. So they get tired of doing that. So yeah, this bar made up. I think Josh made it. Put a serrated edge on it, so they can pull it and rip it. Perfect every time, shaking the waist.
It's not a new invention. Everybody has something that does that, but they want it in their size. They want it on the bench, and they had to remanufacture some stuff. And the girls were like folding them, just stupid, stupid things. And this is the very last one. This is brilliant from Timmy. And these are shared during stretch.
The old way of marking the rotors, we would take and make a mark using the light as a reference tool. Now what we do is we have two nuts welded together with a block and a piece of iron. We can set it in, put the marker in, and now as you slide, you get two perfectly straight lines. But it also allows you to go around the ends so that you not only have a mark on the line, but you get a mark on the end. So now when you set the eccentrics, they're identical on both sides. Thank you.
Shake your waist.
Shake the waist.
There it is.
So, let me see here, Marianne, I'll go. I think that's the end of my stuff. Any questions? Did it help with culture a little bit, guys? I spoke to my wife in between the intermission. She's here with me. Did you understand the first section? Did you get something that I get a takeaway from what I shared with you in the first section? Anybody? Takeaway? She said I was too disjointed and too quick on my feet. Any questions on this one? Any takeaway from this one?
Do you share the videos?
Please?
Do you share the videos?
Yes.
They're online?
Well, we share, remember, some of the things in Lean are intellectual property, but we do share some videos. And you know what we do when we run out of videos because we're going so fast? We get videos from other companies. So just like Yodel here, Yodel's going to be our new supplier because if I can do this proprietary with closely held companies, they can have our videos all day long, and I will guarantee you, if his team sees some of our videos and our team sees some of his videos, it's magic. And we have a couple of other companies in the US that we share videos. Any other questions? Okay, oh.
When you hire people, do you think specifically about what kind of people will fit into this atmosphere, culture?
Yes.
What do you look for?
So what we're looking for is values and characteristics of people, people that are problem solvers, people that are curious, people that like to arrange things. And we don't exclude anybody. They all do this personality test. We just modify the work and pair them up with people to help do this. Because if somebody has the values and characteristics and haven't unleashed them, we know that they haven't unleashed them and they're about ready to enter our organization, and we're going to empower them beyond belief.
Do you think anyone fits into this? Can we all be part of this culture? Or is it more fit for some people than others?
No, you mean, they have a wacky leader, that's me, right? But they have fun at work. You know, we have fun at work. We do a lot of experiments at work. We try and stay focused. Brett said this, and Jim will say it too. We used to have too many things in the racetrack. Now we only have one or two. We have a vision. And the culture, if you come and visit us, it's an open-ended invitation. People will tell you they would not change where they're working with anything else. We've had retired people, old machinists of 87 and 90 years old, that came to us in their 60s and 65 when they were pensioners, you know, when they were going out on their pensions. And they cried the day that they left when they were sold because they'd never been in an organization that allowed them to think, be creative, experiment, and have fun. Why wouldn't you want to be that? Do I want to sit in school and sit, you know, they've shown in school too, you sit in rows like this, and we're teaching like this, and you have to listen all day. I don't want to sit like that. Do you want to sit like that? I want to have somebody, you know, just test my brain and test my creativity and have some fun and that I can ask questions, right?
Of course. I was thinking about your boat, you know, the two naysayers back.
You're gonna meet Lucy. You come and visit us. You met Lucy. Lucy has been with us for 30 some odd years. Lucy, when we did our first lean exercise in 2004, we did a Kaizen on a production area. And Lucy was like an ostrich, like this, looking and watching. And she couldn't wait. She goes, I can't wait for them to get done with that exercise. And she'll tell you, I can't wait because they're gonna come to me next. And this is bullshit. This is bullshit. I work so hard, I can do everything. I've been here forever. Then came over and started working with Lucy. Within 2 weeks, she had to eat her words. Now, if you come in that company, she will tell you, whatever they ask me to try, I'm ready to try it. And Lucy now suggests things that I'm like, where did you come up with that? And we try it. Oh my God. Thank God for Lucy. Thank God for Lucy. She was a pain in the ass while we did it, but thank God for Lucy.